My word for today is bind. Anyone who spends time in the countryside will recognise this, baler twine. It has many uses as well as binding up bales of hay and straw. The stuff is everywhere in the countryside, and the genius of Jesus' preaching was using natural things, familiar things, to speak about spiritual things. He didn't need to meditate for hours thinking about abstract concepts. He spoke with clarity about things people know. In Psalm 118, David wrote about the joy of going up to the tabernacle in Jerusalem and said, "Bind the sacrifice with cords." The nation of Israel was bound together with the Torah, 613 commandments summed up in the 10 commandments. Not legal statutes, but teaching for a whole nation called by God. In Romans chapter 13, Paul sums up the whole Torah, the whole law, as fulfilled with love. If you love, you do not commit adultery, steal or lie, worship false gods to gain success in life. The love of God motivates us. Our principal at college taught us that correction can only be received when someone knows you love them. There must be 10 words of encouragement for every word of correction. We had an electrical fault recently in our house. All the electrics would trip out when a light was switched on. The diocese sent a spark to test the fuse box, and the fuse had become old and weak and lacked its design capacity. I needed someone qualified to find the fault. And when it comes to the spiritual life of the church, it is the same. The qualification is not Bible knowledge or canon law, but love. If you need correcting, as we all do at times, we need to prepare to listen to correction and consider if there is some truth, even if it's not all fair. If more than one person says something convicting, we need to listen more. Think and pray. If one person calls you an ass, ignore them. If 2 people call you an ass, look in the mirror, check your ears. If 3 people call you an ass, buy a saddle. How you deal with correction is pray. If you're concerned about a friend, pray. Show them love and encouragement. Pray for them again. Prayer changes things. In prayer, you take spiritual cords or twine, bind things together to heal, and bind them in agreement, binding ourselves to Jesus' yoke for the kingdom. Plough and sow seeds of faith to reap a rich harvest. Prayer can also loosen bonds of darkness, loosening old knots. Loosening old knots can be hard, so do not be surprised if old habits and ways of thinking take time. But pray, because light will shine in the darkness. In depression, sickness, bad habits and negative thoughts, they can lose their grip in prayer. We loosen spiritual twine in prayer. We take down spiritual darkness like condemnation, guilt and gossip and bind it down so we can walk away free. So my word for today is bind.